Good morning. This is our CSR political show that we try to do every day of the week and on the weekends. We like to refer to as the left jab,
And the right hook.
and that would be
Lisa Otto.
and Judge Lucia Jr. Good morning.
Happy Monday. Monday.
And Jen Lepkowski.
I love how she says that.
The afterthought.
I know.
Well, it's interesting because the 20th inauguration day was last Wednesday, and so a short period should be given to the Democrats to get their act together. But since the 20th,
They've been busy.
I have not seen a stimulus plan. I have not seen a wild display of whatever to get everyone vaccinated. What I've seen is a lot of discussion about impeachment, a lot of discussion about cabinet positions, and I'm supposed to be the left, but I'm finding that I think McConnell is still running the Senate, and yet the Republicans are in the minority, and I wonder about that. Is my guy Schumer going to be capable of being the kind of leader he needs to be with those kind of people? So those are my concerns. Of course, my other concern is QAnon. Well, my QAnon people over here. What is QAnon saying now? Well, they predicted that Trump would be inaugurated. Biden would be executed along with a bunch of other Democrats, probably including me.
Okay, you have to stop paying attention to these extremists.
Well, I mean, they're out here.
Yeah, they're a very small
Do you
majority.
remember
Just like,
January 6th? That was pretty extreme.
yeah, it was okay. But do we remember when Trump was inaugurated in 2017? Do we remember what the streets looked like? In Washington, do we remember the police, the law enforcement? There were hundreds and hundreds of people breaking windows, smashing things, beating on cops. This is not new. The only thing new is it happened at the Capitol.
Minor detail.
Yeah.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
And from what some of the videos are showing, they were pretty much escorted right in. It was all a show. It was all an act, and they wanted it to look bad for the right.
Well, I didn't see it as a show when they were breaking through those doors and a woman was shot to death. And if they'd gotten through those doors, they would have had access to the representatives and the senators. That's pretty extraordinary stuff.
You are absolutely correct, and it was wrong and uncalled for and never should have happened.
Nevertheless,
We've moved on past that. We've got some presidents. So let's talk about how busy he's been. He's been very busy.
You have a list.
Yeah, I have a list. Are we ready? Let's all think about what Biden's already done since he's been president. It's been a few days, not even a full week.
Oh, you were
Here
the
we go.
same
Here we go.
person with the list here. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
We've already had foreign countries with terrorist attacks going on, Baghdad. We've already had soldiers being deployed to the Middle East. Thought we were done with that. We've rejoined the World Health Organization, which is possibly okay, but maybe not. The WHO is the organization that failed to warn the U.S. about the pandemic. They're in cahoots with China. So then we also signed and rejoined the Paris Accord thingy, whatever that thing is, but the U.S. gets to pay the highest of all the countries for fees. Why? Why are we paying the highest? Okay, then we've also have massive jobs lost to China because companies are going back to China because of all of the corporate tax increases that we have going on. So we are going to lose jobs left and right. Oh yes, ready? Are you ready? Yes, they have. Here we go. Before we get to the taxes, we also, an executive order was signed so that men who identify as women can use girls' restrooms. Men who identify as women can compete in women's sports.
That was not an executive
It
decision made
wa-
nationally any more than
And
that whole national thing you mentioned about $15 an hour. Remember that? Your little $15 an hour?
$15 minimum wage.
Yeah, for government or for United States government workers, not in restaurants, not in small businesses across the land, only for government workers. Because there is no law. They would have to pass a law to make it national the other way. They can't just have an executive order to do that. They're limited on these executive orders. So,
Okay. Well, and then we also have an Obamacare back in effect. If you do not have insurance, you will be fined once again. That was signed over. The Keystone Pipeline was shut down. 57,000 jobs have already been lost.
I don't know where you're getting all this information, but no, go back a little bit. That Obamacare, that was changed by Congress, not by presidential order, that they would not be fined anymore. It was not changed by the president. That's another thing that has to be changed by law. I mean, the whole Comprehensive Act was a law that was put into place and hard fought over law. And so you can't just change the law by saying we're going to do this or that unless there's an emergency declared,
There was
martial law.
a whole stack of executive orders that President Biden sat there and signed every single one of those to reverse some of the executive orders that were signed by Trump. So,
I'm just saying,
and a lot of these
everything
are
is not covered by executive orders. Okay?
not everything, but, and then if you look at the pipeline and what happens after the pipeline is finished, the land goes back to being farmland, it goes back to being usable, it goes back to being appropriate.
You obviously haven't traveled to
Then, if you
Valdez in
go to-
Alaska, have you? Because the pipeline that runs through Canada to Alaska is a dividing line.
Yeah.
Animals won't even cross it,
Can't-
okay? Because of oil coming out of the ground is more. During winter times, they won't cross that line. And so you divided the populations of many different species of animals by running a pipeline straight through it. Secondly, in your little commentary there, Mr. McCarthy, or whatever his name is, he
McCarthy.
mentions, no, the guy who was
McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy.
Mhm.
Yeah, he mentions that, we'll become more dependent on the Middle East for our oil. We are not dependent on the Middle East now for our oil. The United States is the #1 producer of oil in the world.
But we're gonna shut down fracking. We are not gonna produce oil. It's gonna be shut down.
Are you in the Congress now? Did I miss
Okay.
your position there?
Okay.
You have a little
Yeah,
presidential
We took a
order
road
you got
trip.
ready to go?
We
In
took
the
a road
stack?
trip.
In the stack?
If we don't frack, okay, so if we don't produce our own oil and whatever, and we go to more environmentally friendly and lithium batteries, have you seen a lithium battery field or a lithium field? That land is unusable. Things don't grow on it properly. It is terrible.
Are you talking about lithium mines?
Yes, they're terrible.
Well,
Very
you know where lithium mines primarily are in the
well,
world?
I hope they're not in the U.S.
Well, they're all in desert land.
Well, good,
And there's
because they.
nothing you can do with the surface anyway.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like there's a resort right next door. What's wrong with lithium anyway?
I'm just saying it's not the fields are not environmentally friendly. They are not. It's not capable. And if they're in the desert, that's good. That's good.
Well,
because you sure can't have a
lithium is
residential
helping
neighborhood
save
next
the
to it.
environment. Even if there's some damage there, think about the fact that a Ford F-150 pickup truck puts out 15 times more emissions bad for the environment than a Tesla. And the Tesla is 3 times as fast.
And I love Tesla, so we're gonna. I'll go along with that.
I'm not ready for that. Yeah.
Okay, we have more. I know you're not ready for me to agree with you. Okay, we have more stuff that has been done in the first few days. We have corporate tax jump from 21% to 28.8%. We have income tax and payroll payroll taxes go from 37% to 52%. We have small business taxes from 29.6% to 39.6%. We have capital gains and dividend taxes from 23.8 to 43.4. This is just in the first few days. Are we ready?
That's
Are we
frack
ready?
that.
Frack that, frack that. Yep,
It's
that's
not
what I
true.
say, frack that. And $4 billion is going to the Honduras immigrants that we're trying to get, or
This is obviously
residents
not
trying to get
a
over
news
here.
show. And the stuff you're spouting sounds an awful lot like right-wing QAnon crap.
Okay, I have never read a QAnon article in my life.
Well, you don't have to, because everybody repeats their junk, especially on the right. They find ways to get
$4
that crazy
billion.
done.
What about our people?
These people all peg themselves to the inauguration day having Trump coming in, right? And they got screwed because you never want to put a day on the end of the world. You never want to give it a date, because then the next day, what happened to all your credibility and belief system in the toilet. But never fear, QAnon is coming back. They're going to have Trump inaugurated on March 4th.
Oh, that is so not happening.
Well, they claim in 1871 the U.S. was changed into a corporation by some strange law, and then we went off the gold standard, and then, you know, we became dependent on the rich banks in Europe to have, you know, to give us credit, really. And so, and March 4th used to be the day the inauguration was held until FDR came in. And then they moved it to January so that there wouldn't be such a lead period of time.
That's a big gap.
Yeah, so they're saying we're going back to March as the inauguration day, and El Blodo down in Florida is going to come back and sit and do whatever the hell it was he was doing. I gave you your opening at the show at the very start, and you didn't pick up on it.
What was meant to say it again?
I said, we don't have a stimulus bill yet.
Yeah, where is it?
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Where is
I'm
it?
agreeing
Oh,
with
we're
you on that
probably
one.
giving it to Honduras.
Where is,
citizens.
if we
It's
don't
going
have
to
the
Honduras.
stimulus bill,
Going everywhere but here.
Everywhere but here. Yep.
I at least want everyone
Yeah.
to be
Yep.
very on top of that.
Yep.
Not just doing all this other stuff and not even talking about it. I
Where's
want
our
to
money?
be able to believe to list all the Republicans who don't vote for it if it goes down, and then we can chase after each one of them seat in whatever House or Senate they're in and unelect them, okay, if they don't come through on the stimulus. Now, what I'm seeing, however, is not a whole lot of talk about the stimulus.
Yeah.
QAnon is getting more play than the stimulus. The stimulus should be at the top of every list, first subject of discussion,
Yep.
every discussion.
And
I don't understand why it's not.
insulin prices need to be regulated once
Yep.
again. They need to go down.
That's a
Families
big
who
deal.
have diabetics in their families, and some of them young, if they have childhood diabetes, they cannot afford their medicine. And we had it down to where if you couldn't afford it, it was $1. And right away, because it was a Trump thing, Biden signed the thing and reversed it. So now it has to be revisited back in March. So we'll see what happens with that. But that needs to stay.
Now, what's the price of insulin? I have
About
no idea.
$900 a month to stay alive. Trump had it down to $1.
I remember when they did that with the EpiPens too, because
EpiPens and insulin
that
are
was
both-
a huge issue.
It's out of spite. It's a Trump thing, so they want to reverse it. Just like all the other things I listed off.
I haven't been
They're
studying,
so busy with their own little agenda.
and you keep saying these truths that I have a lot of
You're right.
trouble.
You have a lot of fact checking.
I do.
He does. He's going to be
There's
busy. I'm going to keep him
trouble.
busy. I know.
You know,
I know.
and that and
Well,
you know,
good. I want
big
because
piece
I
of
want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
duct tape.
I know. I want
Yeah.
to be wrong, George.
I mean, yeah, but
Bring it
insulin and
out.
EpiPens, and yeah,
Well, have you purchased yourself medication for
no, my
diabetes?
son-in-law, and without it, he would.
my son carries
You
EpiPens.
said the price has already gone back up.
They're going to well, he hasn't purchased
Yeah.
it since 2 days ago. He still has some. His next refill is due soon, so we'll see what happens with that.
What do you mean by revisit?
Okay, so there's a moratorium that gets put on it because it has to be revisited, maybe by legislatures. I'm sure that Biden needs backup with that, but for now, it's put on hold and it's not in effect until they revisit it in March.
What's that effect?
The
$1?
$1. So, and
I will be
yeah.
checking that.
Thank you, because that's a lot of money for these families that really need it.
One of the things since we started this show we found a lot of trouble with is just how much data is out there
Oh, yeah.
that's delivered as if it's just book, like that's the way it is, and it's not true. A lot of it. A lot of it isn't just the way it is, or there's a little nuance to it.
And
Diabetes medication is not $1 anymore. Ooh, it's $1.50. That's not the case.
I know.
So I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
what is the truth of that?
It's a full-time job to keep up with checking all of the information. It literally is. And I think they make it that way on purpose. That
No,
isn't right or left, it's just,
This is how our communication system has developed over time. I mean, with the advent of cell phones, with the advent of the internet, with the advent of our changes in television broadcasting. I mean, remember when TV was free? Remember those days? You probably don't. It was all free. You just bought the TV set, turned it on. You got 3 stations, and you got to watch airplanes flying at night and the Star Spangled Banner before you went to bed. Because it turned off. Now, 24/7, everything. We're paying, I think I pay $111 a month for cable. And then you have to pay extra. You get Netflix. Oh, I pay $90 a year for that. And then, oh, by the way, if you want this piece of Netflix, you have to rent. Or we got Netflix. We've got Amazon. We got Hulu's place where they have like the latest movies.
I appreciate not being a TV person right now.
But you got Disney. Look at Disney.
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
Yeah.
You've got HBO Plus, and HBO something else. And you're all supposed to pay a fee to all of those. And then once you get inside, oh, you can rent from us now. What? Well, what am I paying for? Oh, that's for the service.
Yeah.
Not for... It reminds me of paying for a telephone, and then when we used to have significant long distance charges.
oh,
And person to person.
yeah.
You do fake person-to-person calls, and you had to find out if the person was there, of course. You didn't call person-to-person, you called station-to-station. And then the further away it was, the more expensive it was. Get the logic of that one.
That's crazy.
It wasn't there. It's almost like paying for luggage on airlines, which, by the way, all the airlines are revisiting. Taking that one back because it's so unpopular, and flying is unpopular.
We should probably fact check that. And get on it. It's National Florida Day.
I don't think we can go to Hawaii.
Oh, are you taking me to Florida?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have
I don't know, he
my
says.
second vaccine shot on the 9th
Wait, then you
of
can go.
February, and then probably in a certain period after that, my vaccination ID will become viable.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to go because I'm vaccinated, unless they continue this right-wing nonsense that they're spewing out there that, oh, I'm sorry, you can still be contagious even after you're vaccinated.
You may. We don't know much about this vaccine.
I think we're learning plenty, and that's why the World Health Organization is vital. We have the national CDC, but we need international to know, because a lot of this stuff comes to us internationally. The virus didn't arise out of the U.S. of A.
No.
It was flown in.
Right.
From
And who didn't tell us about it?
all
They didn't
those-
warn us.
Those disgusting...
Well, let's hang on the who's words.
ape-like creatures inhabiting some forest somewhere and doing bad things with one another, and then they come up with AIDS, come up with weird diseases to disturb the rest of the anthropoid population, which would include us. Anyway,
I love our show.
it's very nice of you, yes. Okay. I think that's today's show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time and trouble and bother.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm Lisa Otto with the Right Hook.
George Lucy Jr. And
Jen Lepkowski.
And the Geneva Show Report.
bye-bye.